brought to the board's attention that the videos sent out regarding the budget were found to be concerning and inappropriate by some residents. As a board, we'd like to apologize for any offense that the videos created. The intent of the board was to raise awareness and increase engagement and attendance in the deliberative session. We thank you for those who brought it to our attention that it did bring those concerns, and please accept our sincere apology as a board. And we'd like to move into agenda review. I would like to add the para vote that we discussed on Wednesday for increasing para wages to our agenda. Is anything else needing to be added to the agenda?
No.
Okay. So it was brought to our attention on Wednesday that the para pay scale was substantially below surrounding districts and a concern that it was presenting on our inability to fill those positions. There were multiple discussions about that, and I would like to make a motion to raise the para hourly rate to $20 per hour, starting immediately and moving forward from here. I'll second.
It's after the second.
What was that?
We discussed it this morning, but not.
They can't discuss outside of a meeting.
Oh, the microphone's not turned on.
Test.
Oh. Thanks for telling us. They get a close up of our finger. Okay, were we able to hear anything that I said, or should we start from the beginning? So on Wednesday night, it was brought to our attention that the para pay rate was significantly below surrounding towns, and that it had created a barrier in us being able to fill all of our para positions. There was a request and discussion made to increase the para rate to $20 per hour. Before we made that vote, we wanted to make sure that we had those funds available in our budget. We have had Kathy review that information to make sure that we could meet that obligation, and I am making a motion to increase the para rate to $20 per hour effective immediately.
And we have a second.
And I second.
And Crystal has seconded it. We will have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It's not public comment.
Okay, and we will move into the school board meeting for the State of Schools presentation. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Rebecca Eastman-Darrow, and I have the privilege of serving as the chair of the school board. On behalf of the board, our administrators, and our dedicated staff, I want to sincerely thank you all for joining us today. This morning, we are excited to share with you the State of the Schools, a presentation that highlights the incredible work and its staff achievements at Middleton Elementary School, followed by the important updates from Kingswood Regional Middle School, Kingswood Regional High School, and the Lakes Region Technology Center. We believe in the power of community involvement, and your presence here reflects the shared commitment we all have to the success of our school and students. Following this presentation at 10 a.m., we will begin our deliberative session, where we'll discuss the key decisions that will shape the future of our district. And again, thank you for being here today. Let's get started.
This is the school board.
This is the school board meeting, so we don't have the moderator for this one.
It starts
No,
at-
deliberative session starts at 10 a.m. That's okay. You're welcome.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I just want him to know when they're supposed
No, that's fine. Kindergarten and first grade. Our kindergarten students can be seen sitting at a small table where they are encouraged to collaborate with peers and begin to develop the sense of community. This is so prevalent here at Middleton Elementary School. Our students share and explore their interests as they work with their teachers and other adults here at the school to build a strong foundation for learning. In this picture, students were excited about bringing their favorite stuffy to school so they could show their first grade friends. Is that a little easier to see, guys? Okay. Second and third grade, our second grade students enjoyed the visit from Kingswood High School robotics team in the fall. It was a great way to see how math and science are learning in their classroom comes to life. Third grade students were able to attend a musical at the Rochester Opera House, which is a great way for them to enjoy a show and learn more about their imaginations. Fourth grade. Students in fourth grade learn about nonfiction stories by selecting stories and performing skits. The fourth graders really enjoyed this project and asked to make props so that their skits could be even better. Fifth and sixth grade. Fifth grade students work in small groups sharing ideas during a classroom challenge. In sixth grade, our students strengthened their algebraic thinking skills through analyzing ratio concepts, proportional concepts, and by working with expressions, equations, and equalities. The students also get to enjoy time in their classroom for independent reading. Celebrating school staff. The dedicated staff at Middleton Elementary are the heart of our school community, bringing passion, creativity, and unwavering commitment to our students each and every day. This fall, they went above and beyond to make school a fun and engaging place to learn by organizing themed days, allowing students and staff alike to express their creativity and school spirit. Beyond the classroom, our incredible staff, along with the help of some generous volunteers, organized and ran a dance program for the students in kindergarten through sixth grade. This provided our students with a wonderful opportunity to build confidence, develop a new skill, and create lasting memories. We are deeply grateful for their enthusiasm, dedication, and care that our teachers, support staff, and volunteers bring to MES. Their hard work makes a difference in the lives of our students every day, and we truly couldn't do it without them. Thank you to our MES staff for all that you do. Kingswood Regional Middle School. Being kind, respectful, motivated, and safe is at the center of all we do at Kingswood Regional Middle School. We believe that it is most important that our students understand and live by these values. These school-wide expectations allow students to access common language, expectation, and instruction from all the adults in the building, and help to strengthen and sustain a climate and culture that supports all learners. With that being said, community service projects are an important part of the culture at the middle school, which includes the organization and delivery of 40 Thanksgiving turkey baskets to families in need. These kinds of projects help students to develop a sense of social awareness and learn patience and empathy while getting to see firsthand how they can have a positive impact on their community. There continues to be enriching academic programming at Kingswood Regional Middle School to immerse students in the experiences that inspire new interests and broaden skills. This programming includes STEM-based projects in science and technology, as well as strong arts and music programming to encourage self-expression, creativity, and to build confidence and career exploration opportunities. Kingswood Regional Middle School also offers diverse extracurricular clubs and interscholastic athletic options, including soccer and Skills USA, as pictured on the slide, that help to foster important work ethic and perseverance, preparation and commitment, and interpersonal skills. Looking forward, there are continued efforts to strengthen the Kingswood Regional Middle School advisory program by implementing responsive classroom strategies. Advisory offers the structure to meet adolescents' developing needs because it is the one place where there is a true focus on the notion of the whole child. Advisory seeks to ensure that every child has a meaningful relationship with an adult and a sense of belonging among the community of their peers. Kingswood Regional High School offers its students a wide range of academic, co-curricular, and preparation for a post-secondary opportunity. By taking advantage of our many offerings, students will lay the groundwork for a successful educational experience in high school. We truly value our students who are at the heart of who we are and what we are all about. We encourage students to play an active and contributive role in their education by accessing everything Kingswood has to offer. We are proud of our many traditions and opportunities that are provided for our students, and it is important to become involved in our school community and to make connections with our staff. Our goal at Kingswood Regional High School is for the students' time here to be rewarding, enriching, and at the same time prepare them for the rest of their life experiences. Lakes Region Technology Center. All who work to support Lakes Region Technology Center continue to assess our community needs in our effort to address individualized career goals and provide opportunities for future success. Our students are a reflection of the learning habits they established during their time at Lakes Region Technology Center, which helps them to determine their future and the work they do. Each year, we work diligently to build upon the commitments we have with all students and the communities we serve. At Lakes Region Technology Center, we strive to uphold to the qualities of leadership, responsibility, trust, and collaboration. We often share with students the ideal that Lakes Region Technology Center is about their career and their future, and that people do not need to decide their future. They decide their habits, and their habits determine their future. Lakes Region Technology Center is dedicated to teaching the habits that students can take into the future and determine their success. The staff and administration of Lakes Region Technology Center appreciates and is grateful for the work that GWRSD does to support all of us at Lakes Region Technology Center. As we come to a close of our State of the Schools presentation, I want to take a moment to sincerely thank each of you for being here today. Your support, involvement, and commitment to our schools and students is truly invaluable. We are incredibly proud of the hard work of our students, the dedication of our staff, and the continued partnership with our community. It is through this collective effort that we continue to create meaningful opportunities for learning and growth. At this time, we take a brief pause to transition into the deliberative session, which will begin promptly at 10 a.m. We encourage everyone to participate, as this is an important opportunity to discuss and shape the future of our schools. Once again, thank you for your time, your engagement, and your ongoing support of our schools. We appreciate you being here today. 5-minute recess. States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. My name is Rebecca Eastman-Darrow. I am the chair of the Middleton School Board. I want to welcome and thank you again for being here for the deliberative session so that we can share with you the budget and details. We will be providing you an in-depth look at each warrant article and its rationale, which we hope will give you a more complete picture. We are happy to answer questions after each article is presented.
Yes. I just wanted to introduce everybody to Miss Tracy Hayes, who has agreed to be our moderator. So she is everybody's hero tonight. So round of applause.
Thank you very much.
So we'll start by reading Article 1. I will read it, they will present, and we will solicit public input. When you do come up to speak, if you would just state your name and you'll have a chance to speak. So Article 1 is to choose the following school district officers. A, 2 school board members for a 3-year term. B, 1 school board member for a 1-year term. C, 1 school district moderator for a 1-year term. D, 1 school district clerk for a 1-year term. E, 1 treasurer for a 1-year term. And F, 1 deputy treasurer for a 1-year term.
Article 1 is a non-budgetary article, so I will leave that for moderator to continue review with you. If anyone has any questions, the microphone is right up here in the front of the room to feel free to come up and state any questions that you have.
Any discussion?
I can do this one real quick. There are 2 school board members that are up for election. Running for those positions are myself, Heather Kremen, and is she here, Christine Maynard? Okay. They're running for 3-year terms, and Samantha Martell is running for the 1-year term. Is she here? Wave. Okay. And there is no one running for school district moderator, so anybody interested? Anyway, that was all.
Okay, with no further discussion. So what we're voting on, just so we're all clear, what you're voting on is the wording of how it's going to appear when on the ballot in March. So we're not actually voting on anything other than the wording of this. So is there any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the article as written,
Hold on.
raise your,
We have to make a motion first, right?
oh,
Not for art.
Okay. So I make a motion to accept Article 1 as it is written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Any opposed? Okay. We'll move on to Article 2. Is the budget. Article 2, shall the Middleton School District raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by a vote of the first session for the purposes set forth herein totaling $5,333,232. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $5,599,854, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Middleton School District or by law. Or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, 10, and 16 to take up the issue of revised operating budget only. Note this warrant article operating budget does not include appropriations requested in any of the other warrant articles. The Middleton School Board recommends $5,657,273 by a vote of 5-0. The Middleton Budget Committee recommends $5,333,232 by a vote of 6-0. Estimated tax impact on $5,333,232 is an increase of 23 cents per thousand, resulting in an estimated tax rate of $9.82. The school board recommends this article 5-0, and the budget committee recommends this article 6-0. Crystal?
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the budget numbers, actually a lot more. So as you all know, our unemployment rate in the state remains low, but there's still economic uncertainty, partly because of the rising costs we've been seeing lately. Changes in the economy, even here in our local community, have a big impact on all of us. The school board takes great care in putting together the budget, always being mindful of balancing the needs of our students with the financial responsibility we have to our taxpayers. We understand that no one likes to see their taxes go up, and we're committed to bringing forward a budget that meets the needs of our schools and our students while being respectful of the challenges that families face. As we work through the process, we will look closely at every part of the budget, making cuts where we can without sacrificing the quality of education our students deserve. We appreciate your support and understanding as we make these important decisions for our district. So enrollment, this is the official enrollment report required by the DOE each year as of October 1st each year. Over the past 5 years, enrollment has remained fairly stable. We currently have 155 students enrolled here, the same as last year. We have 36 students at the middle school, 72 at the high school, for a grand total of 263. 3 years ago, we began watching the population increase for that kindergarten class. That bubble class is now in 3rd grade. All but the kindergarten classes have remained relatively consistent. This year, we've worked hard to create a fiscally responsible budget that prioritizes the needs of our students while keeping the impact on taxpayers as manageable as possible. We are proposing a 0.75% increase in the overall budget, which reflects our careful planning and attention to details. One significant item to note is the employee expense increase of 6.31%. This is due to the fact that we are operating under a default budget, which means we are continuing from last year's approved budget with only necessary adjustments. The employee increase primarily addresses adjustments that were delayed last year due to that default status. This increase ensures that our staff compensation and benefits are aligned with contractual obligations and current needs. Additionally, the warrant article for the teacher contract is not included in this budget. If the contract is approved, it will be addressed separately, ensuring that it does not affect the proposed operational budget. This allows us to present a clear, transparent budget proposal that remains fiscally responsible while also supporting the essential needs of our staff and students. In the wages section of the budget, we've seen an increase primarily due to the default budget requirement, which reflects salary commitments made in prior years. However, this particular budget proposal reflects the Budget Committee's decision to remove any wage increase for staff this year. It's important to note that this is a separate matter from the teacher contract, which is included in a warrant article and is not reflected in this budget figure. The decision to omit staff wages increases in this budget was made with the intention of keeping overall costs manageable while we continue to navigate financial challenges. We value our staff deeply and understand the importance of fair compensation. The removal of these increases this year is a temporary measure that reflects the current fiscal reality. Ultimately, the wage structure presented in this budget is based on previous agreements in the default budget, without any additional increases for staff compensation. The future of staff wages, particularly for teachers, will be addressed through that separate warrant article. The increase in the general fund this year is largely due to rising costs in a few essential areas. One of the primary drivers is the increase in professional services for special education contracts. As the needs of our students evolve, we must ensure that we have the necessary resources in place which requires a larger investment in specialized services. Another significant factor contributing to the increase is the rising costs of various building service contracts. This includes contracts for snow removal and other maintenance agreements that are essential for keeping our school running smoothly, particularly during our winters. These necessary services have seen higher costs, which have had an impact on our budget. While these factors are driving up expenses, they are necessary investments to ensure we meet the needs of our students and maintain our facilities. Despite the increases, we have worked diligently to manage the budget responsibly and manage any unnecessary financial strain. Continuing on with the general fund, another factor contributing to the increase is the rise of electricity. This is also a contract. As we all know, energy costs have been climbing in recent years, and the increased rates have affected our utility expenses. We've worked to ensure the school remains energy efficient, but the prices increase still has significant impact on the overall budget. On the other hand, the Budget Committee has been diligent in identifying areas where we can reduce costs without compromising the quality of education of services we provide. Through careful consideration, there have been reductions in several non-essential areas. These adjustments reflect the committee's commitment to managing taxpayer dollars responsibly, while still ensuring that our school operates effectively. In summary, while there have been necessary increases in specific areas, we have also made strategic reductions to keep the budget as balanced as possible. The goal remains to support the educational needs of our students without overburdening the community. The only debt that Middleton School District has is this building. Just like a household debt, the school district interest decreases as we pay down the loan. The percentage of our budget devoted to this debt is 7.7%. When compared to the state average, it is significantly higher. The state average is about 1.1%. This is no surprise, we have a fairly new building. The good news is because this decreases each year, our debt service this year is 2.9 less than last year. The revenue budget is important because it impacts the amount of money that must be raised. When the revenue budget is higher, that's a good thing because it provides us with more money to offset the budget and services to lower taxes. Next year's revenue budget is slightly higher than the current year's. This is primarily due to the formula for state aid and the student levels that are used in the state calculation for this grant. The state aid is based on a complex formula that considers the number of students overall, the number of families receiving free and reduced lunch, special education membership, and other differentiated aid. Although Middleton's population is not declining, it is still benefiting from the formula. The official ballot law, also known as SB2, determines what is to be included as a part of the default budget. It states that a default budget is the amount of the same appropriations as contained in the operating budget authorized the previous year, reduced or increased by obligations mandated by the law or previously incurred, such as debt services or contracts. One-time expenditures are not included in a default budget. The purpose of presenting a default budget is to give the voters an understanding of what the budget would look like should the proposed budget be voted down. The default budget is $266,624 higher, $624 higher than the proposed budget.
Any questions, public input? You just step up to the microphone, state your name.
First, I just want to say that your counts are off for the budget committee's vote on a couple of these articles. It should be instead of 6-0-0, it should be 5-1-0 on this one.
On Article 2
Yes.
is 6, what is it, 6, 1, and 0?
5-1-0.
5, 1, and 0.
Down to Kathy, she's probably gonna have to answer.
Yeah, can I ask how much was left on the ESSER grant that was not spent, that was returned?
I don't think that's something that we'd be discussing at this time. We can,
I have to pull up mine. So if there's something else you want to ask, I'm going to have to pull up my,
I'll let it.
Any other questions or input? Yes, you'd step up.
If possible, I'm gonna have to speak from here, but I think they can hear me. Actually, I have 3 questions. One has to do with the LEA, the elementary school is 16,000, the middle school is 60, and this high school is 98,000. Are these just for us, or are we sharing with,
We're only talking about this article right now. Did you have a question about this specific article?
the budget? Right?
Okay,
And this is in the
so the
budget.
okay, the LE line in the budget.
Right,
Okay,
so there were 3 lines there. That's my first question.
okay.
Second question has to do with superintendent services. $242,000 for 1 year? How much is this person making over the year? I mean, that seems like an awful lot of money for the services that we require.
Okay, I'm gonna hand the microphone over to the superintendent.
So, I know you only said 2 questions. You said 3 and it said 2.
The servant has to do with the contracted services and related services, the SPED, that you're $48,000. What are you using that for?
Sure. So first, I believe the LEA that you're referring to, that is in, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's in a different warrant article, the DPT? Is that, okay,
This is within the budget.
within the budget?
Yeah?
Yeah. So which lines are you talking about?
Hold on.
I think these would be the technical lines in function 561. You're talking about the sped tuition.
Oh, I see, the
No,
LEA.
I understand, but it's, if there are LEAs in here and there are 3 of them, one for the elementary, one for the middle, and one for the high
They're
school.
all function plus 561. Right, function plus 561, which is part of which is in the tuition.
That would be out of district.
So when it says special education tuition, not just regular tuition, that would be an out-of-district placement. So that's what the tuition special education lines are for your first question. That's the marigold color page.
Okay. Line 561.
Yes.
8032. There were 3 lines here for LEAs. And you're requesting 98,000 for the high school. Wait a minute, I'm gonna get back to this. No elementary, 60,000 for the middle school. And 16,000 for the high school. The LEAs, they specific to us, or are we sharing with you?
This is specific to Middleton, specific for Middleton students and special education tuition.
Okay.
And then your second question about superintendent services.
Yeah.
So I'm the superintendent, and so superintendent services are better known as SAU services.
Right.
So it is not reflective of one salary. It is everything that the SAU provides for Middleton. So that's everything from human resources, payroll, accounts payable, that is services from the leadership team, so special education, superintendent, finance, business administration, federal grants management. So when it says superintendent services, that is what's legally required by the districts. The district is required to either hire a superintendent on your own or contract for services, which is what you're doing.
So you're actually providing more services now than you did back in the beginning now.
I can't answer that, but I'm just defining for you what superintendent services, it does, the title is a little misleading because it's not just me, for sure.
last question was $228,000 under contracted services, related services. Okay.
So for contracted services, related services for special education would include behavior consultants. It would be a psychologist to conduct required evaluations when we have referrals for new students into special education. It could include other specialists who are not on staff, such as vision specialists, some speech and language who may not be on staff and we have more of a need for. Sometimes behavior assessments. So some of those things are decided upon in a special education team meeting that a student is in need of in order to, access their education, but it may not necessarily be on staff here at Middleton.
Okay, you provided me with last year's budget and the year before as well. How much of the money that you have that you had in the current budget, $166,000, how much of that have you spent,
We would take a look.
Well, she's looking for that. I have the answer to Bonnie's question for the surplus, because Kathy emailed me. It's a little better than $109,000.
Good morning, Heather Cronin, I'm here in my individual capacity. I'm going to make a motion to increase the budget, the operating budget by $288,856,000, which would bring it in line with the school board's proposed budget as to operating expenses. I also propose adding in the difference for the New Hampshire School Board Association fee, which will also give us access to the policy manuals and their database. So that would bring the total requested increase up to $292,566.
Needs to,
Go ahead.
is there a second?
Oh, we have to
Oh.
find out if there's a second for her motion.
Is there a second to the motion? I have a second.
Second,
Second.
second.
Is there any more discussion?
Hold on a second.
I didn't get an answer to the last question. I believe Kathy was looking it up.
I'm still going.
She has to do that.
Only two hands. And half a brain.
Roxanne Thompson. Just a quick question, or maybe something quick. So last year's budget that got approved at the town voting was, the default budget was $33,000 less than what was proposed by the school board. So this year you're looking for $421,000, so if I take the $30,000 out of that, so you're looking for $388,000. And this is just all in the employee expense portion, because that's what, because the operating piece went down by $35,000, or maybe it's going down. So to make up for the difference up top, can you speak to the $388,000 increase over 1 year? You know what I'm going to ask, Kathy.
I need to answer first question, please. So.
Hold on one second, we're gonna hand you the mic.
I really don't want to hear my voice. I'm gonna keep it far away, I am sick. So you asked what we have spent so far to date with the contracted service. Correct, right, the budget's 166. To date, we spent 142,882
On special ed.
on this line that you're asking about.
Right.
Which is special
And
ed.
it went to special ed.
Absolutely, it's in
Okay.
the special ed budget, it's an account code that is special ed. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any more discussion?
Roxanne,
Roxanne,
yeah.
someone in the audience seconded, but I think we need to answer Roxanne's
Yeah.
question first before we move on to anything else.
Point of order, Tracy Gonzalez. I know Mrs. Hayes is new at this, but everything is to go through the moderator.
Does someone want to answer Roxanne's question? Can you restate your question, Roxanne, to make sure we get what you're...
So my my point or question is last year we voted in the default budget, which is $30,000 less than what was proposed by the, by the school board. And now this year, we are looking for an increase of, and this is just in the top section, because that's where the increase is coming through. The top section I'm talking about is the top section on the grid sheet, which is all employee expense. It's increasing $421,000. So if I take the $30,000 out to cover the default, because it's a contract, probably contractual increase, whatever, that gives us an increase of $388,000 just in that section. And obviously, I can see it between wages and health and life. So,
Are we okay to respond?
Please.
So I'm going to speak a little bit and then I'm going to hand the microphone off to the superintendent. So a lot of those changes came from changes to insurance as well as changes to staff and what they were taking for insurance. So I'm going to let them kind of navigate more of that.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
okay, so I just want, just so we're clear, so the staff that can take insurance in the school is how many employees, like 10, 12? Just saying, because it's just offered for full-time, right?
I'm going to defer to the moderator to who gets to speak next.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we let our superintendent respond to the question first?
Thank you. So as far as change in wages, as the chair mentioned, so with new staff, sometimes staff leave and you have new staff hired at different rates. So that's one factor. Another factor is a change in insurance benefits. So the rate of health insurance has gone up. I think the other piece of your question was about how many staff are eligible. So our full-time, as everywhere, full-time staff are eligible for those health benefits. And so those are our teacher level positions. Paraprofessional positions are not eligible for health benefits at this time.
How many full-time staff members do we have?
I don't want to misspeak. I think we have 18 teachers, 17, 18, but a couple of those are part-time.
May I speak?
Yes.
So it also includes our administrator, our custodians who are full-time, and our office staff member who is eligible for the health insurance. And because we are in a default budget this year, our health insurance rate increased from last year to this year, but it wasn't, I guess I'm talking about the dollar amount in the operating budget proposed. But for next year, we still have to increase those rates in the default budget, and therefore that is, one of the big contenders of the increase in this employee expenditure section. Dental limit as well, right, that's not as big as a dollar amount, but over a 2-year period, it does increase a bit.
I believe you had a question. Go ahead.
Okay, if there's $109,000 left in the ESSER grant, why wasn't that used? Why wasn't that spent on supplies and stuff? Why did we just throw it away?
The ESSER grant doesn't go into the operating budget, so I don't know if we should be talking about the ESSER grant at this time. We did discuss that in previous school board meetings.
Oh, hold on one second. I believe he had a question first. If you want to step up.
Please state your name.
Scott Ferguson. I just have a question because I'm trying to make sure that I'm not mentally misinterpreting things here. So I see the next warrant article in regards to the bargaining unit. So the numbers we're looking at here do not include this number, correct?
They don't include the increases.
In the contract.
That's an
But this would be, so I guess I'm just asking, is this number taking into consideration Article 3? Or is this whole number here not separate from what's being proposed in Article 3?
Can we speak to that?
Please.
Just for clarification for me.
Good question. So in the top wages section, it includes all the staff if they stay the same from this year to next year. The warrant article, and Kathy can correct me if I'm misspeaking, the warrant article is just the increase that was negotiated. So if the warrant article for the teacher contract does not pass, they still all have salaries, but it would just be status quo.
Go ahead.
So with Heather's recommendation of increasing to 292,000, what's the tax impact to that, of that?
I'm sorry, I was coughing.
Tax.
She was asking the tax impact if the higher budget is
School board
Increase to 292,000 based on Heather's recommendation.
off of Heather's motion.
Yeah.
Have that from your board meeting. She has that from your
But you know, based off of this, it says 982 based off of the 5,333. So if we increase that by 292, what does that become?
Go ahead. Oh, can you give her the microphone?
Thank you. That would be an increase of $1.03, and it would bring an estimated $1.03, which would bring it to $10.61. You're welcome.
Can I have an opportunity to speak real quick?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
I think the big concern that we are having as a board with the proposed board set forth by the budget committee, if the lower budget goes through, as they kind of brought to everyone's attention, the majority of our budget is salaries, which are contractual obligations. So it would leave us at the risk of having to eliminate at least one full-time position from the school to meet our budget. When we cut that position, as we kind of just stated, there are not a lot of full-time employees, and we have to still meet our state requirements. So that would kind of put us at a position to have to be cutting either library, art, music, or PE, which are not full-time positions. So we may be cutting multiple of those to meet our budget requirements. So that is the real concern that the school board has with the current proposed budget, and having amendments made so that we have the funds needed to keep the teachers in place that we have and provide the education that we've been providing our students.
Sorry.
Since we're here today voting on the budget committee's numbers, can we hear from them on every warrant article, please?
Is that something you guys are prepared to do?
I didn't hear the question, I apologize. Can you state your question again?
I'd like to hear from the budget committee on every warrant article.
Okay. I'll give you mine.
All right, so on this warrant article, the reason that the budget committee kept the numbers the same is because we felt as a whole that we weren't presented with very good information from our reps. Couldn't answer a lot of our questions and everything, so I think the majority thought process was, we'll keep it the same, bring it to deliberative, maybe we get real answers, and then leave it to the townspeople to decide whether they want to increase that much or not. We're not against paying fair wages, but we are against voting on things that you're asking for that you can't justify.
I'm so sorry. I don't know your name. Sarah Pennell, okay.
Anybody else?
And John Quinn, I'd like to hear more from the school board and budget committee about the differences. We got $3,000 difference in philosophical with questions. What questions does the budget committee have? The school board may not have given a clear enough answer. And why does the school board want this, a larger budget than what was recommended by the budget committee? And what benefits does the town have? We have a lot of questions about finances. It's a tough time for everybody. Everyone here works too. I just want to know the difference in what will we gain by which number? Are we going to lose position, lose services, or gaining services? We all want to know we're getting the most from our money. And that's what everyone wants to know. Well, this is a lot of money. What do we get out of it? It's not like we're losing our teacher. Okay. What does that really mean? We can't pay for this. Insurance goes up. That need to know what. So what? You guys work really hard on these budgets. appreciate all that, but you know some of these things we haven't been paying attention to, and I apologize for that. Just let me know, if the town can get a good, educated yes. So we can support this. Thank you.
If you want to speak to the increase.
Yes, thank you. I completely understand why the budget didn't go in the way that we did. I think there is absolutely room for improving the working relationship. And when the new slate of school board members are put into place, that is one of the things that I hope that they look at. That we look at improving that communication. That doesn't help us today, unfortunately. So I appreciate the openness to being willing to hear some of the explanations of these. The budget committee proposed not only cuts in the operating budget, but also cuts down through other expenses as well. My motion is to only address the increase back to the operating when it comes to wages. It didn't address anything other than one line item, which was increasing for the dues, that we want to be able to bring in the New Hampshire School Board Association to educate this board, because we are a relatively young board, on what our obligations are in helping us set policies moving forward. So all the other items that were cut, and you can look at the green sheet and see the differences in where the budget committee cuts, we're not asking for those to be put back in. Those are things that are, the repairs and maintenance were reduced. You're looking at reduced in general supplies. All of those things we're not asking to be put back in. Would they be helpful? Absolutely. But right now our concern is making sure that we can support the staff that we have and be able to continue providing the services at the level we have been so far. This is a wonderful school district. We have a great ranking. Let's work on keeping it that way. I guess then say, if there are any questions that the budget committee has that we need to answer to help you understand those figures, please let us know.
Do you guys have any specific questions?
I think, so our main questions were, obviously, the wage line, breaking it down. Not so much by name, I don't need to know who's in what position, although I figured it out, but it was never broken down in this position gets this much, this one gets this much. Okay, so not only that, you guys' wages comes out of that line. It was also a little confusing for us during this meeting when it was we were talking about this week, and then the next, the CBA warrant article, there was confusion there, so, so it was, nothing is ever broken down for us to really know where the money is going. And in reality and transparency for, us townspeople, we should know, who's getting paid what. It's public knowledge, you can't hide it, so, and when we're asking questions, we're not getting answers. There's that, that was our biggest thing, is nothing is broken down.
Did that answer your question? Anybody else on the school board want to go ahead?
Can I go ahead and attempt to answer that
Absolutely.
question? Okay. So of the operating, the wages we have currently for this fiscal year, besides the teachers at status quo, so no increases from this year's salary for teachers to next year. Those are the ones that stay status quo. All the rest, which would be the school bus drivers, it would also be the custodians, it would also be the one administrator and the one administrative assistant. All of those staff members plus the paraeducators were to get a 4% increase in from their current salary. They're also, I did increase the substitute line this year. We have a $10,000 budget for substitutes, and I increased it to $30,000 based on the need, the cost, the expenditures that have happened last year and currently this year. And also the school board increased $200, not school board members, but the clerk and moderator position.
Did that answer your question, Sarah?
Can I speak for 1 second just to give a little bit
Absolutely.
more information? Previously, in a school board meeting, we voted to increase the substitute pay rate, which is part of what increased our budget need there. We have also we also increased over the last couple of years, and I think part of it might have impacted the budget last year, was the para rate. We did increase that as well in the school board meeting.
Please.
I guess I'm supposed to come up.
If you
Just state your
state
name.
My name is Colin Sexton. As somebody that has done a lot of work with contractual obligations, hearing some of the phrases when we seem to be getting close to single point of failure, I am concerned, what is the then potential expected legal obligation that we will be then subject to if we do become below our threshold? Are we exposing ourselves to something that could even be higher than what we're actually proposing at this point in time? My concern is we say no to $10, but then we're guaranteeing ourselves a $30 payment. My concern is that any operation cost, whether it's attrition, inflation, that we are suddenly going to actually be in a lot of trouble, and then we are guaranteed to have to make a payment that's going to be coming out of every other resource.
anybody.
Is there, and I could add on, is there a certain amount of time if we fell below that threshold, we have a 20-day window to meet or refresh that obligation, or are we immediately subject to something?
Please, Allison.
Thank you. So from a legal perspective, the district has various costs that are fixed and that they just exist as they are. Or, contractual things, they have to pay for education, all of those things have to be funded. If they're, depending on, I guess, if the dollar amount of the budget that is voted on is lower than is necessary to carry the legally required costs, which also includes employment and things like that, then the board would need to decide what can be removed from their discretionary line items, which is why the chairman that may need to be adjusted based on, what the underlying budget is. So, the district, just like anyone, has to meet its legal obligations in the areas where it is more discretionary, or the only areas where they really have the opportunity to say, well, this can be adjusted because we have to meet all of the other things over here.
So pretty much, we could vote on something that we want today, become below our threshold of single point of failure, then have to cut other items to compensate for that. So even though we might want to say in what we have, if we go below a certain threshold, we expose ourselves to losing programs or teachers to meet the legal obligation. Is that part of the discretionary line item?
Correct, yes.
I just want to make sure that we knew what was on the chopping block. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Chairman Kayla, I just want everybody to understand something. Even though I've been told that money for SPED will be spent on SPED, it doesn't necessarily mean so. They don't have to spend anything for a specific reason. Our budget's the bottom line. So if they get shot like on teachers' raises, they can take it out of another line. You guys need to be aware of that. Don't be fooled. I'm not against the budget, but don't be fooled. We're a bottom line budget state, and they don't have to adhere to what's on those lines.
Anybody want to respond?
Are you okay if I speak? You're absolutely right. It is a bottom line budget. But at the end of the day, there's still only so much to work with. So though we are at a bottom line budget, we are reaching the bottom from where we have to take from something else. So that is our concern. I feel like we've had, and you're absolutely right, we've had this conversation over and over again that yes, it is a bottom line budget. We have the ability to flex. It doesn't really apply to special education in the fact that with special education, we are not seeing necessarily less expenditures, we're seeing actually more. And we legally have to provide those services to provide the students the opportunity of faith. So that we're running out of money to take from other places, basically.
Did you want to respond?
This is what happens during these meetings, because if we deny the raises to the teachers, they take it someplace else. And it doesn't matter where they take it from. And I'm not focusing specifically on special ed, but when you're thinking like $248,000, when
Rebecca, did you want to respond to that?
No.
Okay. Scott?
Scott Ferguson, I have a two-part question possibly. Does this whole number as well include what will be in that new tuition agreement at this time? It is, okay. And then my next question is, and maybe not for this platform, but I signed the agreement to continue the current tuition agreement. I know I'm no longer on the board, so I'm not part of that, privy to those conversations as a civilian, but myself and Mr. Whitmer, along with the school representative from Effingham, former school board representative King Gary were there as well. I'm just curious if somebody can give me a legal standpoint on why we have a new tuition agreement when the one I signed should have been in effect until June of 2030.
That's a different warrant article.
We signed it.
Go ahead.
Can we pause response to that one until we get to that warrant article?
Sure.
Thank you, Scott.
Last year we went to the default budget. Can you tell me what was left in the budget at the end of that year? This is the last year.
$109,325.
$109,325. Thank you.
Any other questions or input? Seeing none, we have a,
We have one
oh,
person.
go ahead.
I'm Cynthia Bird, and I live in Manassas, but I teach art here. And school funding is certainly a discussion that's being had around the state because the only pool we have to pull funds for public education is property taxes. And that's a big burden, and I think we all understand how that impacts families here. But this community took a leap of faith in building this beautiful building, and they built a beautiful community. I'm very proud to be part of it. And it's our responsibility to upkeep this school and make sure it's a place that people can continue to grow and learn in the best way possible. I'm concerned that a lot of the things on this list are not really negotiable things. Like you mentioned, not providing art, GE, and music. But at this moment, those are required courses as part of a Hampshire student. So I wanted to share just something. Oh, also I want to mention that New Hampshire is 50th in the nation for state funding for education. So that's not a problem. But I wanted to share with you something that Mrs. Robbins shared with us at our last school board meeting. I think she said it pretty well. But she said that the adults and taxpayers in a town not only have the burden, but also the responsibility to educate children. This is a federally protected legal right that all children in our country receive access to a free and appropriate public education. It doesn't matter which type of adult you are, a school staff, school administrator, a budget committee member, or a community member, but we all need to collectively pool our resources to advocate for our children who do not have voices that carry legal weight, nor should they have the burden of worrying about these types of things. That's exactly what adults are here for today.
Thank you. Oh, please, go ahead. Be it stated.
I'm Jonathan Sindor, sorry about that. I heard some of the comments that were just made at the meeting the other night, and I think people have said it, and I haven't heard enough, that we have adequately funded the school. That's evidenced by the reserves that are left over each budget. So the thought that we are not being responsible or not caring for kids is just absolutely not true. And we're just trying to make it affordable for everyone to have a good quality education.
Thank you.
Can I speak for that?
Please, Rebecca.
So I just wanted to bring awareness to the fact that some of the funds used from ESSER, we have the ability to use towards buying materials in the last couple of years. So that did lower our budget, which did change some of what came out of our budget lines, adding to that surplus that we had. The number of money that we're talking here, the $292,566 that Heather proposed, is actually, per the census of May of 2024, there's 1,853 residents in the state, in the town of Middleton. That works out to $157.89 per resident at $13.16 a month. So that's like the difference that we're talking about $13 a month in this budget difference. It sounds like a huge amount of money at $292,000. It does, it sounds astronomical. When you look at it per resident value, it's actually quite small. But it would make an astronomical difference to what the school has the ability to provide. Can you tell me how much we used for ESSER funds to buy supplies?
I'm working on that.
Feel free to move on to someone else while she gets that.
Please.
She's talking $13 a month. That's fine. For people, younger people that are working, this town is made up mostly of older people who are surviving on Social Security. So you need to take that into consideration.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you.
Yes, please. Oh, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you. Jonathan Sidorow again. I'm glad the ESSER did come up because Bonnie did ask about that. The amount that was left on the table and allowed to just not be used, which was not the responsibility of anyone in this room except for people here. I'd like to hear that number and why it was not used.
That information was presented at a previous school board meeting. I'm not sure if that's something that we should be circling back to, or it doesn't portray to this budget. It won't have any further budget impact.
You did just bring up ESSER. You yourself.
Yeah, when you asked what we
No,
used.
you actually brought it up just a minute ago, separately.
Correct. So we were able to use some of the ESSER funds to pay for some of our supplies last year, which decreased what came out of our budget.
Please.
Real quick, so on Kathy, the year that we left the 100,000 on the table from the default budget, were we fully staffed?
You can throw the microphone.
When we left a little over 100,000 through the last default budget, I think it was the year before last, were we fully staffed?
No.
Do you know what was open then? Sorry.
2 paras, a half-time library media specialist teacher position, and a half-time special
So
education
2 paras, a library teacher, and half-time special ed.
And possibly, for the majority of the year, a bus driver.
A bus driver, I thought so. Okay.
I think she.
The district spent approximately, for ESSER supplies, $82,000 approximately was the ESSER free funds.
Please.
Tracy Donovan, West. I have 2 things. So what I'm hearing from the school board chair is that no questions can be asked today that were answered at previous school board members. This is the deliberative session where people come to ask questions and to get answers. I also would like the answer to Scott Ferguson's question on the signed contracts and why it's different now and what the amount difference is from that and why was that not taken into consideration? Legal contract?
Can I respond to that?
Please.
So as far as Scott's question, what we stated was we would respond to that when we get to that part of the
But
warrant.
that is your number 1 number right there. It's the tuition. Rebecca, we're voting on it.
As far as the ESSER funds, so there was 100, can you give me the exact amount, Kathy? 100 and something left of ESSER funds. So when we were working for what we were using ESSER funds on, when we left in June, the meeting, we were proposing to move forward with a generator. It was not brought to our attention that the school board, that the superintendent services did not hear from Mr. Gary, who is no longer on the board and can't speak for himself, which is why we were kind of deferring from this, as to getting those generator contract information in so that it could be submitted to the state for approval. It didn't occur. We weren't notified until I think it was August or September, which was past the deadline, so there was nothing we could do. We used everything we could to buy school supplies and anything else that we could use that money towards. You're welcome.
Thank you. Regarding the tuition contract and the superintendent contract, we have a stack of copies of those, if anyone has not seen that, and the details are within those, and those amounts are within the proposed budget, even though the warrant articles are asking the community to agree upon the contract, agree upon the agreement that was agreed upon between the two districts. But the amounts and the explanation are within the agreements, and we have copies for anyone who is interested in that. We can speak now to the Mr. Ferguson's question, or we can wait to the article that's up to moderator.
Why don't we discuss it? We've had 2 questions about it now, so.
Okay, and I will defer to our legal expert. However, within the contract, it requires that the 2 districts agree to proceed. So 1 year, actually it's 2 years before the end of the contract. So the meeting when both board chairs and vice chairs came together, they had to sign to agree to proceed. And then from there is 2 years' time when both districts can deliberate, they can look at the contracts, but they first need to come together to agree that yes, we're going to proceed, we're going to work together on a contract. So that's what that first signature was for. And then from there, the 2 boards deliberated and came up with this agreement.
Did that answer your question, Scott?
And we'll speak more.
It does not.
You okay to wait?
Did you want to come back to it and so we can clarify your question and then get you a better answer?
Well, I don't think my question has a bearing on it, as far as final numbers go. I think maybe to a degree it's interpretation, from the previous contract or what have you. But my question on it was just borrowing on the number that we're voting on it here. Not necessarily the contract. I don't want to get into the bits and pieces or the legalities or any of that. I was just curious as far as it pertains to that top line.
She has the numbers.
Please.
Thank you very much. So as far as the tuition contract, there was no change in next year's calculation. It's the same calculation in the original contract. And there is a budget amount of, it's listed on, I don't remember what page it's on, of your marigold color, but the middle school line has $508,607 as a budget amount, and that includes 34 middle school students for next year. The high school line is $1,077,050.27, and that is for 72 current high school students for next year. So no change to the formula going forward for next year. As for the superintendent services, that is not changed either. That is the same calculation, the rate increase based on the SAU expenditure index, based on the original agreement. And that number happens to be an increase of 7.01%, if I can get to my document quickly enough here. So again, there's no change to the formula based on the original contract at 7.01%. So the total amount for the SAU services contract for next year is $242,204.30.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Input from the staff?
Bless you.
Teachers? From the school board? Budget committee? Okay, I know this is an important one, so I'm trying to leave a lot of time for this. But having no other input or questions, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second.
Repeat the motion.
Absolutely. You could repeat the motion. Do we have it written down? Yep.
So the motion was to increase the budget total by $292,566.
And we have a second. I think we had a second, but all those in favor?
Let me see opposed to see if we need to do it down.
I think
Any opposed? What did you have? 36. Okay. Vote is 36 yes, 8 no, so the motion is passed.
I do have another motion. I just want to move to restrict this reconsideration on this. I'm going to move to restrict reconsideration on this pursuant to RSA 40:10.
We have a motion to restrict reconsideration of this,
Reconsideration of the
according to
motion.
RSA 40:10.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Did Tim-
All those in
Tim second?
favor?
Aye.
Done.
Any opposed? I'm just checking them. The vote is 30 to 8, 30 yes, 8 no. The motion is passed. We will move on to Article 3. Please.
Point of order, motion to read article 2 in the first place. Because every article that we presented, someone says, motion to read it, second, and didn't get that first. And we voted to amend it, so at that point, you might have told the room, but this isn't all the voters. So the question is, how do we convey what the district body cast here decided on the ballot? You're going to read this, they're going to say, what is this? I don't know. You vote no.
Attorney wants to.
You need to have a motion to say yes. I move to hear Article 2. I overrule that just when we get to this every time, it's procedure for it, I get. Second, we go forward and do business. Or we'll nullify the motion to amend because we didn't have a motion here. I mean, am I wrong? I think we'll do these, but.
Let me ask our attorney.
The actual voting will take place in, on March 11th.
Yes.
But the wording of that article the fourth line down where it says totaling 533, 232 will now be increased by 292, 566. So that wording has changed, and that's what will be on the ballot.
Based on the original motion, we didn't talk about. So we have, I can ask the clerk, who motion either Article 2. I formally motion to hear this article, so we can discuss it formally. We didn't have, it. You, me?
Who is the clerk?
Clerk's right there.
Yep.
No, but I'm just saying, we need a motion on every article, town, school, Lake District, everyone, say, I formally want to read this. And someone second. And the moderator goes forth and does the great work. I'm just trying to get this legally done. I know we voted on it in a month, but we need a motion and a second to say, we're reading this article. For what?
With the new total as read.
No. The article itself.
Oh, we want the article read with the new
You're formally
number.
presenting it to the district. And then we formally discuss it, and then we formally vote on it. But in order to present it, we need to have a motion and say, I formally move to talk about this article. As right here. But if we don't have that, we can't amend it, we haven't discussed it.
So discussion was open, may I say?
I believe what you're saying is that
There should have been a motion prior to reading the article,
Yeah, no.
prior to my reading
Here it
the
is,
article.
Article 2, can we have someone formally motion? I'm doing that right now. All we need is a second, and we can go forward.
Motion for Article 2.
Okay, and then Article 3, Article et cetera, just to get this legal stuff. Right, so it's that easy. Then I'm done.
No, John, I
Thank
think
you.
we're just trying to understand.
I apologize, I'm new at this. Okay, we will move now on to Article 3. Do I have a,
No, but we have to finish
do I
that.
have a motion to,
So we voted to modify it.
Point of order, it needs to be read as amended, because the amendment passed, correct?
Yes.
It has to be read as amended, presented with the corrected number, and then voted on.
And then voted on again. Okay. Perfect.
thank you. Okay. Somebody want to make a motion? Okay. I will read. Article 2, as amended, shall read, shall the Middleton School District raise and appropriate an operating budget not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with a warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein totaling $5,625, $5,625,700, I apologize, $5,625,798. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $5,599,854, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Middleton School District or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, 10, and 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Note, this warrant article operating budget does not include appropriations requested in any of the other warrant articles. Estimated tax impact on $5,625,798 is an increase of $1.03 per thousand, resulting in an estimated tax rate of $10.61.
Do we need to do this, recommend or not?
No.
This,
Okay, do we vote again?
is that
I
correct?
think we vote again. To make the motion.
I need a motion to,
I will make a motion to accept that as written.
I have a motion, I have a second, any discussion?
Already restricted.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Vote is 37 to 8, motion is passed.
I think you should do that. Okay. Let's do the motion for now. They're already passed.
I'm John Quinn again, I'm sorry, Wally. Are we going to amend the estimated tax increase as well, so the voters have correct information?
She did that.
Okay, I'm just making sure
Sure.
that.
Thank you, John. I know you're not. I'm genuinely thanking you.
I did the minutes as many times as possible.
I
Heather, did you want to make your motion?
Motion, do you want to make your motion again?
Oh, sorry, yes, again, sorry. We don't need another meeting. We did everything twice. Sorry, now motion to restrict reconsideration pursuant to RSA 41.
I have a second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Vote is 37 to 7. The motion is passed. Okay, now we will move on to Article 3.
Motion to read Article 3. Oh, yeah, yeah. She's got to read it.
I have a motion to read Article 3. I have a second. All those in favor?
What are you voting on? She has to read Article.
I'm going to ask our attorney, does that motion need to happen?
So process-wise, you as the moderator can read the article. It then can be moved. It does not have to be moved, but that can be the process should you choose to have that be. But then typically you read it, the board can, it return to the board for a presentation, it's then opened for discussion and potential amendment. For example, as to Article 2. Article 3 is not amendable, but certainly up for discussion. And then once the discussion is closed, it will go to the ballot if there aren't any changes, or it will go as amended if there are changes. If you want to move it to the ballot, you certainly could decide as a body to do that, but you are not required to.
Thank you. Okay, Article 3. To see if the Middleton School District will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Middleton School Board and the Middleton Education Association, which calls for the following increases in salary and benefits at the current staffing levels. Fiscal year 2026, estimated increase $76,154. Fiscal year 2027, estimated increase $50,308. Fiscal year 2028, estimated increase $61,006. And further to raise and appropriate the sum of $76,154 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by law, required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. Majority vote is estimated at 21 cents per thousand as a tax impact. The school board recommends this Article 500. The budget committee does not recommend this Article 330. Nicole?
Yes. Tracy, I just want to say thank you for filling us at the last minute. We really appreciate you being here. So I'd like to take a moment to speak to Article 3, which seeks the community's approval for the new collective bargaining agreement between the Middleton School Board and the Middleton Education Association. This agreement represents the culmination of several negotiation sessions held this past fall, where the board and the Teachers Association worked together to find a solution that supports both our educators and our taxpayers. This article focuses on two key areas.
creating a more competitive salary schedule, and investing in professional development. These are crucial steps to ensuring that Middleton remains a place where talented, dedicated educators want to work, grow, and stay. Our teachers are the heart and soul of Middleton Elementary School. They are the ones who inspire our children, nurture their growth, and build the foundation for their futures. Supporting this agreement means recognizing the value of their work and ensuring we can continue to attract and retain high-quality educators in the years to come. The financial impact is outlined clearly in the article, with an estimated tax impact of 21 cents per $1,000 for the first year. This translates to approximately $42 annually for a home valued at $200,000. We believe this is a modest yet justified investment in the future of our children and the sustainability of our schools. I want to emphasize that this agreement is not just about numbers. It's about people, our students, and our teachers. By approving this article, we are saying that we value the work of our educators, we value the work that our educators do, and are committed to supporting their efforts to provide the best possible education for our children. On behalf of the school board, I strongly encourage you to vote in favor of Article 3. Let's show our teachers and students that their success is a priority for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions?
Let me hear from the budget committee.
So for this warrant article, we were split 3-3. Okay, for this warrant article, we're split 3-3. Again, I think it was more, there was confusion with this one. There was a lot of stuff for the questions we were asking again about what was included and how it would work. It was still considered under non-public. So we weren't, the information wasn't available to us on that one. So I think that's what it ended up being for the vote on the 3-3.
So hearing that they didn't get their information, I looked on your website to see if there was a step scale anywhere. Where can the public find that information?
Any of the teachers want to respond? Staff?
I'm not sure if we posted that. We didn't post that. You can share that with me.
Yeah. Was it available today for the public?
We could print some out, some copies.
Just the salary.
We can print copies of the salary schedule.
They can print schedules.
Okay, yeah, we'll get some printed, and that's the step scale, but it's not related to the new CBA, correct?
It's the
It is,
yeah.
so it would be, the new CBA.
Yes.
Okay.
Allison Meeker again. I am co-president of the teachers union here, and also was able to sit on the negotiating team with Ms. Huntress and Ms. Stickman and our superintendent and Ms. Venus. And we really appreciate the time that we were able to spend together talking about our needs and our shared goals. So I just wanted to encourage you to vote for this CPA because I think that's a good point that someone brought up, that you can't find our pay scale very easily. Being part of the union puts us on the map, so to speak, because teachers who are interested in working here will be able to, through the network of the union, be able to find and compare our wages and our wage scale to other districts. This school, the teaching profession is in the cutting edge right now, and this year we did not have teachers for some of our classrooms until days before the school year started. So we really need to make sure that we are offering a contract that is appealing to teachers who take on a lot of debt to enter the profession, and we want them to help make sure that they can keep our teachers that we have
and avoid teacher turnover in schools, which can disrupt students' learning experience.
Wage increase, yes.
We have currently 2 part-time teaching positions that have been open for 2 years. And
Also
we're
increase.
hoping
So
that
people,
being part of the student will help make us appealing to other school districts. We once used the government word pay scale as our pay scale, and that has been adjusted. The new agreement, although I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, it keeps us competitive with the districts in our area while also keeping in mind the property taxes. And we've worked within a budget to provide cost of living raises for the next 2 years and distributed the budgeted wage increase among our teachers to create a stronger starting salary to help make this an place to work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I speak for a
Please.
second? I just wanted to kind of clean up the public. One of the biggest changes we've seen in impacts in the budget has been changing in staff positions, because we end up hiring teachers at a higher wage. They have different benefits packages, and they take the different benefits and insurance plans that actually cost us a higher amount of money. So that's created a huge impact on our budget, at least for the last 5 years that I can think of, especially when we left the COVID years, when we lost like a third of our staff. That made a huge impact on the requirement to meet our salary obligations. I think, like she said, this is a huge improvement to the desirability of our staff to stay at our school, so that we don't continue to see those fluxes in pay wages. As well as to keep the continuity for our students to know who the teachers are going to be here next year. So we aren't walking into school years two and 3 days before we start without even knowing if we have a teacher.
Go ahead.
I'm not against teachers, believe me. We got teachers in my family. But when you stand up there and you're talking about other districts around us, you can't compare apples to oranges. You can't compare us to Rochester. If you're gonna do your homework, you're gonna get in there, you're gonna find school districts and towns comparable to us. And see what their pay scale is.
it's not the
Can
same.
I say something to that?
It's not the same.
I think I think something that
You're dead. You haven't, I think so.
Well, I think it's working now.
Yeah, just.
I think when you said it down, it sounded like it was working.
That's red. Now it's, do you want to use ours?
No, it's fine. She's gonna-
I think something that a lot of the townspeople here seem to forget is that although we are not as big as Rochester and everything, our pool is going to be within a 45-minute radius. So while we might not be as big as Rochester, we will attract from Rochester. So we have to pay comparable to the areas around us.
Thank you.
Please.
I know Middleton's a small town, we're not Rochester, we're certainly not Governor Wentworth District. How comparable are our teaching salaries? Are we competitive? I mean, we have bus drivers, we have janitors, we have food service professionals and teachers. We want to keep the people we have and improve the workforce. And the police, firefighters, we want to keep competitive. Is Middleton competitive and reasonable? Again, getting the money for our value. You guys have studied it, I'd like to know.
Do you want to speak to that, Nicole? Or you just did the question?
Who would like to respond?
Nicole's going.
So during these negotiation meetings, it was a high priority for Kelly and I, as part of the board, to ensure that we took into consideration all of the surrounding areas and didn't focus specifically on Governor Wentworth School District's current pay scale. As a board, we came up with a number to provide to the teachers union as to what we felt was fiscally responsible and that the town would approve for their increases. So with that amount that we gave them, they put it on their pay scale, they decided who was going to get, as far as their steps go, where that was going to be divided between of those. I believe with this teachers union agreement, this will set us to a point where we have a competitive salary. We don't have that today. will help us get to that point and will help us be able to attract teachers to this area and keep our teachers.
Any other discussion?
My name is Amy Bruce. I'm the administrative assistant here. I'm in a unique position because I work here and live here, so I understand because I pay these taxes here as well. But working here, we don't want to become just a feeder school for other districts. We don't want to have our whole staff be new every year because they come here at the salary that we provide, and then they just leave the next year because they can get much more in the surrounding districts. We want to keep our teachers so that they can develop those relationships with our students and our community and our parents, and that's very important. So I just want to consider that.
Thank you. Please.
Hey, it's Colin Sexton. So speaking of a couple of things, talking about what Ms. Bonelli talking about is, I currently travel 45 minutes to work. There are days that takes me in the snowstorm about an hour. You know, so talking about the outlying regions for which somebody can commute for a reasonable rate is well within those demographics. We have seen those things expand over the past 60, 70 years. As a federal employee, I was kind of in one of the meeting groups about how we're going to redefine those regions, because we are just expanding our outreaches at this point in time. We want to work here for the money, but we want to live here for life. We understand the impact on taxes of everybody can attest to, but as somebody also in the federal government that had to deal with attrition, retention, there's a massive benefit the moment you hire somebody new that you don't expect the same quality you did as somebody that was retained, whether it's the quality of life of a student, how they handle that adjustment, but also how the teacher adjusts into that environment. One of the big things we have always found is that retention is the key. I have heard you talk about increasing or having increases when you have to bring somebody on new, but that's the other thing is, it is very reasonable, and I'm hoping that whatever is being compensated for is attributing to the fact that we might have to pay more to keep that retention. And I heard that tonight, this is something I wanted to hear to discuss, that this does make us comparable. We might not be a large school, but we have a lot of big hearts and a lot of big minds, and I don't want our side of the town, side of the school, we have to be comparable or compensated on just because of the number of pupils for the level of education they can receive. And as somebody that has left jobs over dollars, I support everybody 100%. If they want to do a job, if they found $1 down the street, I say go for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Please.
So we have some statistics here for the 2024-2025 teacher average salary in public school districts for the state of New Hampshire. So out of all the public school districts in the state of New Hampshire, Middleton School District is currently number 125 in the state, with an average salary of $58,324.
Please.
125 out of how many?
So we're 125th out of 160 public school districts in the state of New Hampshire.
Thank you for that information. Please.
Jonathan Sinder, as someone who's worked for an agency where they're not able to afford to continue to increase salaries at pace with inflation or similar jobs in the private sector, I recognize the importance of leadership, creating a good environment for work, which makes you want to stay. The unfortunate thing of collective bargaining is that it removes that component out and sole focuses on benefits and money. And we should be providing, there should be a culture that makes people want to stay here, recognizing we can't compete with some of the local districts.
Does anybody want to respond?
Yeah, I have thoughts too, but culture is important, but can't be everything up front.
unfortunately. I agree, and wholeheartedly, as someone who doesn't make a decision based off of dollar signs. I also feel that when you look at the culture we live in today, that we are a minority, we are not a majority. With that also being said, there has never been a staff member that I've ever heard that has left this school because of the culture or because of the leadership. It has always been, it was the hardest decision I ever made to leave this school. At the end of the day, our teachers have to be able to pay their bills. And that is what has driven this negotiation. We want to do everything we can to be fair to the town, but we also have a legal obligation to educate our students. And like we've heard over and over again, it has become harder and harder for us to attain educators in this town because of the fact that our salaries were not comparable. I know that the team that we had worked with the teachers to negotiate, that they worked very hard and very diligently to make sure they were fair to both the town and the teachers. And our teachers did the same thing. The feedback that we have from the negotiations was that the teachers were hearing us and being fair. And it was a meeting in the middle place. So that's what got us to the agreement we proposed to you guys.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none. I have a motion for this article to move forward as written. I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The vote is 39-4. The motion passes. We'll move on to Article 4. Article 4, shall the Middleton School District, if Article 3 is defeated, authorize the governing body to call one special meeting at its option to address Article 3, cost items only, majority vote. The school board recommends this article 5-0-0. The budget committee recommends this article 4-0. Nicole?
No, I'll speak to why I would apply. So if Article 3 is not approved, then Article 4 allows the Middleton School District to call a special meeting to revisit the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement. This is essentially a safeguard to ensure we have the opportunity to address the critical needs outlined in Article 3. By voting yes on Article 4, the district would have the option to hold a special meeting to explore potential adjustments to the agreement and bring it back for consideration by the community. Our goal, as always, is to work collaboratively to find a path forward that supports our teachers while balancing the needs of the community. However, calling a special meeting is not guaranteed, and without Article 4, we would lose this opportunity entirely. It's important to note that approving Article 4 does not mean immediate action. It simply gives the governing body the ability to call a special meeting if necessary. It keeps the conversation open and ensures that we can continue advocating for our teachers and our students. I encourage you to vote yes on Article 4 to ensure that we have the flexibility to address this important matter if needed. Thank you.
Please.
I just want to say that the budget count is wrong on this one again. It's actually voted 2, 4, and 0.
I don't think it was this one, Bonnie, it's the next one.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's my fault.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
This one's right, you're good.
This is right here.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I need a motion to move forward this article as written. I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Vote is 30-0. Motion passes. We'll move on to Article 5. Article 5, shall the Middleton School District vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $102,220 for the purpose of hiring a full-time diagnostic perspective teacher to case manage Middleton School District eligible students in grades 6 through 12. Majority vote is estimated at a cost of 28 cents per $1,000 as a tax impact. The school board recommends this article 5-0-0. The budget committee recommends this article, it should be 2 to 4-0. Heather.
So thank you. Article 5 asks the community to approve funding for a full-time diagnostic prescriptive teacher to serve as a case manager for our students grades 6 through 12. This role is essential for supporting our students with disabilities, particularly those transitioning from Middleton Elementary School to Kingwood Bridge Middle School. This transition from 6th to 7th grade is a pivotal time for students, and having a dedicated case manager will ensure they receive consistent, individualized support during this time. The position will also overlap with one grade level at Middleton Elementary, which would create a smoother transition process while also reducing the workload on the 2 current elementary case managers who are already stretched thin due to the increasing needs of the student population. Special education services are critical, legally required within the district. If the position is not approved, the Governor Wentworth School District would be required to hire someone to fulfill this need and charge Middleton for the cost. They would also oversee that person without us having a lot of input. By hiring our own diagnostic prescriptive teacher, we maintain direct oversight over the quality and delivery of the services to our students while fulfilling this important obligation. The cost of the position is $102,220. That's not for a salary. That is everything. So that is a base median range of approximately $57,000 for the actual position. All the rest of that $102,000 is the benefits, mandatory pension, taxes, insurances, everything else included in that item. So that would have an estimated cost impact of 28 cents per 1,000 of assessed property value. While this is a financial investment, it also ensures that we meet our legal responsibilities. It provides relief to the current staff and ensures that the students receive the support that they need to succeed. So I want to encourage you to consider the long-term benefits for our students and staff as you make your decision on this.
Thank you, Heather. Please.
Roxanne, I'm speaking. Just a quick question. Right now, we don't pay for those services, but we get them from Governor Wentworth.
Heather?
We are not currently paying for them. They are not included in our contract for services. However, we are going to have to be paying them and should have been paying them all along.
So it took us 10 years to figure this out with the contract payment. So the other question is since this is for special ed, correct? Is that what that is considered, right? This position? Is that correct? Is it for special?
Yes.
So technically, we could potentially take this money out of the special warrant article that we have to fund it for the first year potentially. Is that correct, Janet?
Let me let them respond first.
Special ed trust is for unanticipated costs, such as people moving in for out-of-district places.
Okay. So the special education trust is for unexpected costs, like someone moving in from out of town, not to pay the salary of a new position. And I think that would be putting us at great risk of a deficit the following year, even if we could legally do it, because then we've started a new position and we've taken it out of the trust fund, which we can't do every year. We would have to then add that into the next. So that's why we didn't just add this to the budget. We asked for the warrant article to be presented so that the town would have more say in creating this position. Is it okay if I speak as a resident at this point? So as someone with a child in special education that has recently made the transition to the middle school, I will tell you the transition was horrendous. The middle school has one case manager for the 360 students that are within it that have IEPs. I don't have the details on how many she's managing, but there is literally one for the entire middle school that is managing all those cases. My child had the unfortunate there were typos on her IEP. There were many, many things that have actually inhibited her ability to access her education this year. It is hugely important that we consider this. I know we've asked you to consider a lot of things, which is why we did not want to just add this to the budget. We wanted to really give you guys the ability to hear and kind of give thought to whether we want to add this year or not. This case manager would be responsible for the 6th grade students, 7th, 8th through the end of their high school career. There's currently 25 students that they would be servicing. There's 1 student graduating this year and 5 students coming in that will be moving into the 6th grade next year. So that caseload would go from being 25 this year to 30 next year. The risk to us is if we don't have someone that's effectively managing these cases, is there's so many legal implications that can come to us as a district if we're not meeting the needs of our special education students. So that would be my ask for everyone to consider.
Thank you. Please.
So, with all due respect, and I'm very parent of a disabled grandson, who is not in school, he graduated years ago. But when I asked a question earlier about the pre-LEA lines, everything you're saying here about the IEP not being correct and what have you, that falls to the LEA. So you have a case manager, you have LEAs. The LEA should be doing this job. If we don't, shouldn't need to hire somebody else.
Can I respond to that? So the LEA, yes, but we have case managers within the schools that are having to actually navigate and write the IEPs. The LEA is overseeing. So these case managers are in the school actually working with the teachers and the students to actually develop the IEP with the team based on the students' needs. So yes, they are overseeing and a part of that team, but they're not the majority or even the primary role in that team. It's the case manager that's working with the students and the teachers to develop the need of the student.
They should be helping in transitioning these children.
Oh, 100%.
They are their fault.
Well, I don't think
The
it comes.
LEA, not the case manager, the LEA.
So if I can respond to that, I agree with you. It is 100% the LEA's responsibility, but I think when we're looking at mass numbers, you cannot expect someone to give the same attention to 100 students that they can give to 30. So I think, yes, you're absolutely right, and legal implications would say yes, those are going to be held at fault because they were the one overseeing. Does that mean that at the end of the day that the student isn't the one that's getting the negative impact? I mean, when you can only do so much as one person.
So what you're saying is, this person here is gonna handle all the eligible kids from grade 6 to 12. You just defeated your own comment.
So what I said, so the LEA,
No, forget the LEA, I'm talking about this person in the warrant article.
so in the,
You're saying that the LEAs cannot handle 100 kids. And what are you telling me? Grade 6 to 12, you got 100 kids here, at least, okay? And that one person is gonna handle the transitioning of all these kids?
of all the 25 students that is currently being handled at caseloads of more than 100, Janet. So what and that's not a definitive number, I'm giving examples. So what I'm saying is we are giving our students the ability to have someone that's working with the professionals within Middleton Elementary to transition them to the middle school and then to continue to follow them so that they have that specialized person that is working with them, not someone that's passing off from this school to that school and that school having a caseload of only one case manager for the entire school. And I think there's 2 at the high school, correct?
2 at the high school.
Well, that one person would be responsible, but it lowers the caseload. For 25. So it's just giving them a caseload of 25. Right now, the transition that's occurring is one person for the entire school of the entire district. So that's left up to the teachers.
Part of our system. Please.
So, just so this is clear in my mind, what you're saying is we tuition our kids up to Kingswood along with 5 other towns, right? 6 towns. None of those other 5 towns, with the exception of one right now that's taken care of. And you're asking us, perhaps the smallest town of the 6, to hire a full-time person to do this, and none of these other towns do. Is that correct?
Not exactly correct. So the case manager at the middle school currently, she has the caseload of all the towns, including Middleton. And it's a regional middle school, you know, part of Governor Wentworth, that's a cooperative, so it's a different contract than Middleton has. That person is going to stay and case manage for everyone in Governor Wentworth Regional School District. To now, currently, she's also case managing the Middleton students with IEPs as well at the middle school, and they are at the high school. What this warrant article is proposing is for this district to hire your own case manager. So then those students would be taken off the middle school case managers list and onto this new person. So you would have your own case manager for grades 6 through 12. But this person would be new, not replacing anyone. It would be new for you. And the other towns are all part of the Governor Wentworth Regional School District. So that's why, you know, they have their own separate deliberative, they have their own very different agreement with that cooperative school district. Does that help?
Do those towns have this person dedicated to their students?
It is not, they do have a person dedicated to their students, but it's not different where this is like one per town. So this would be different for Middleton than the one person for all the other towns.
I think what you're asking is, have any of the other towns taken the initiative that we're taking here to propose this? Or are they all just utilizing the case manager at the middle schools and high schools?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Caroline, can I add?
I can just provide a little clarity because I worked for 3 of the TPTs in the Governor Wentworth district for 2 years, so they have their own DPTs plus special ed teachers, and our school doesn't have the capacity to do that, so our special ed teachers are also the DPTs. So like I worked for Durham, Crescent, and Carpenter, and I had a different DPT for each of those schools. It was K-6, but they weren't special ed teaching as well. So our person has like 3 different roles. So I was also their secretary, which our school doesn't have. So in the other schools, there's a special ed secretary, a DPT, and special ed teachers. And we kind of have one person who does all of that. Does that help? No.
So our DPT is also teaching. We don't have, our DPT is also teaching. So she's not just in a role to kind of build and develop these IEPs, she's also required for teaching the students as well as building it. Because we don't have the ability to have someone in separate roles.
There's 2 here at the elementary school, but none for 6 through 12.
Right.
It's being absorbed by government.
Please.
Tracy, I understand it was not in the contract per line, but this was discussed ad nauseum back in 2013, 2014, before the contract. I have a child that had an IEP at the time, and we were concerned about this, and we were told that it was part of the tuition agreement, and that it would be absorbed in. So what has changed, and if the Middleton numbers go down, can you promise the Middleton people that our employee will not be having a caseload with Governor Wentworth's children? And I'd like to hear from the budget.
We can never cross over districts. We can never use your stuff.
Who would like to respond?
Okay, so in response, I don't know, I wasn't here in, I think it was 2014 or 2013. Yeah, so I can't speak to any of that. What I can say is there has been an identified need at this point. Has it been here before? No. When the tuition agreement was negotiated, it states in the tuition agreement that special education is separate. So they have not been billing us for it, but could have. Again, I think the big thing here is there's an identified need that we are stretching our case managers here very thin because of the fact that they're doing multiple roles. And then helping them with this transition into the high school and making sure that our middle school and high school students aren't lost in this huge difference. Because from a parent whose child just came, we have this amazing small environment here for our kids. My child was one of 19 students, which is amazing. She moved and transitioned into a class of 180. That was life world changing for her, to go from being one of 19 to one of 108. Granted, it's divided into 2 separate classes, but our kids are facing this huge thing. And no, we can't support every student with a one-on-one case manager, but these special kids that are identified as having this needs, it gives us the ability to make sure they don't get lost in this massive pool. Not deliberately. This is nothing that someone is doing deliberately to create some kind of a negative impact on our students. But when you're going to these doubling numbers, 360 students at the middle school, is very easy to lose a child that is vulnerable and not get the support that they need.
really increased.
For sure. COVID had negative impacts in so many areas. But yes.
Rebecca, with all due respect, I think you're taking my question. I understand, I work in education, I understand the need. I'm talking about the money. The money was previously in there to cover these services, and now it's not. But I'd really like you to address, will our case manager be used for Governor Wentworth students if our numbers go down? Because I'd rather see them work half and half here at our elementary school.
I am sorry for forgetting that part of your question. You are absolutely right, and that was one of my concerns, and that was my thing. And I've been assured by the district, they cannot touch our employee. So that is our employee. So I would think, I'm not going to be necessarily involved in their day-to-day thing, but it would be more that they would start helping more here and picking up more students here to help to take off the caseload of our case managers here. Then they can't touch the students in other districts up there. And again, from looking at the contract, it always stated special education was separate. We just have been fortunate enough to not be billed for it.
Did you?
No, I just wanted Budget committee like to respond?
But I think Christina, did you?
I think she had requested the budget committee to respond. Is that, here you go. It works, yeah.
Hi, Patterson North Budget Committee. When we met for this particular, for the school budget, when they met with their representative with us for this budget, we went over this particular thing. We didn't know what it was, and they didn't really explain it well to us because we had the understanding that we had already 3 lines, which, we've been already told that we have 3 lines for special education. And they were looking in, at that point, they couldn't tell us which lines they were in or how much we were already spending out for special education. We voted against this because the representative came and said that at this point, we didn't need it. It's a few years down the road that they were thinking of this. We didn't know at that point that we weren't already being, I didn't find out until I was at the school board meeting on Wednesday night that we were not being charged for this service right now. That this was something that I guess the school district up there at Douglas is thinking about doing now. So where we already have a big fat budget in our world, we didn't need to add one more thing into that budget. And not knowing exactly what our needs was, I mean, my view is that maybe we should wait and see what Kingswood wants to charge us for it, and if we should have our own person or not. And to know also, you said other districts, I mean, the other areas, like Brookfield and all that stuff, do they actually have their own PPT now, or are they taking it under their budget, their voting? It was just very confusing for us, that first meeting, saying, yeah, well, we gotta look at this and maybe we can absorb it into some of these other 3 budgets, or save money on these 3 budgets, like, 3 lines. So it was just very confusing for us, so we could not vote for it because there was no accountability or information for us to know what this really was for, so just, so we voted, majority of us voted against it.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to move forward.
I believe we still have discussion.
David Dufresne. I hear a lot about the special needs and the special budgets around this, and I heard it in the past, and I've heard I want somebody moves into town, I got 3 special need kids and so on. I don't think I can get anywhere, I don't know anybody else make a decision on something, I don't know how many special kids we actually have. You know, can't pay your gas if you don't know how many vehicles you're driving, you know, that kind of thing. So what is the percentage of the number of children that use these special ed teachers and use this in our school?
Yeah, we have that. Do you want to read it? So in pre-K, we have 5 students. In kindergarten, 3, first 3, second grade, 5. Then we go to 3rd grade, we have 5, and 4th grade, we have 4. This is grade 5, we have 5, and then for the middle of 6th grade, we have 5.
Which is the state average.
Do what? Grade 7, 3, grade 8, 4, grade 9, 5, grade 10, 2, grade 11, 4. And then as a senior, we have 1, and we have 1 out of district, which this person would also be in charge of that out of district as well. So out of district just means somebody is placed out.
It's probably 15 to 20%.
15 to 20%
of our population. Of our town's population.
Just our town, yeah. And yes, each of the other schools has a DBT.
Nice.
Pointing in, when our kids are here, they're alpacas, fighting alpacas. When we go to Governor Wentworth, I was very impressed. When my kids went up there, the teacher said, okay, you're all nights. Doesn't matter if it's Middleton, Brookfield, Effingham, Alton, they're too small for two. What I'm concerned about is this kind of thing, it's like we haven't been charged with what, we need to be public about this, that we could be charged for this to be more than $100,000. And we're on the dime for that. We have to pay for it. It's one of those things we have to pay for or not. But what I don't like is the perception that we're different. Because you go to the school up there, you can't look and see a Brookfield kid or an Effingham kid or Rosby kid. You see Kingswood kids. It's a great environment. Doesn't work for everyone, but it's a great environment. We're not singled out there. I don't want our kids to be singled out just because they're from out of district or special tuition kids. All our kids are special. All our kids are unique, great. But up there, they're Kingswood. I don't want to have 2 standards of kids up there. Our kids are somehow different because we just have a different legal agreement that has nothing to do with kids themselves. They don't learn math differently, they don't learn English differently. So this is kind of a question, I want a perception issue that somehow we're special, we have to manage our special kids because the district won't cover that as part of the tuition agreement. We're sending our kids up there, and they play football, or they do band, or they do math, or whatever they do. But there's nothing different about it. The opportunity is for everybody. I understand you want to keep the kids transition so that they have success. They have disabilities, they have a learning issue, whatever it is, hearing problems, they get the stuff they need so they can graduate and go forth and become hardworking taxpayers. We want for every kids. I think that we're supportive of this, but we don't want to have a set of standards that we have to pay this extra on top of the tuition agreement that we're going to vote on anyway. And then there's the whole problem. In a month from now, some of these people will hear about it. Most of the town isn't paying attention. This happens on every other board in town and the district. You spend all this time talking about it. You guys have great knowledge. You can spend all these hours at meetings, or you can show up. And then we got people here, which is great. But I've been in district meetings where there's 3 residents, 3 educated residents, then they go to the ballot, and no one knows what they're voting on. If they see this, they say, oh, I don't want any more money. Another problem with the budget committee, every article we've had, the budget committee says we're voting it down, we didn't get enough information. 2 problems. They may not be asking enough questions, and you're not giving enough information. You guys work. The budget season starts in October. It's a grueling marathon. My wife hates the budget season because it's just time that she has to take away from her family and focus on this, and then to have a knockdown brawl at a meeting. That's all the public servants who appreciate the representatives. But you need to work together. The planning board does this and says, oh yeah, just vote on what we said. We know best, and you should have gone to the meeting. work all the time. So the bargain is you guys work hard, you present it, and the town says, yes, we trust you. We trust the budget committee, we trust the school board to work together. And if they disagree, they can talk about it. So those are two things I have and appreciate it.
Can I respond?
Absolutely.
Okay, so first of all, in no way is this being set up to differentiate any of our students from the Knights that they all are. It is just to support our case managers here at Middleton and to support the transition of our kids into a huge pool of Knights. It is not something that I think that the kids are, I don't think that it's not differentiating them any more than they already have some of them working with case managers. It's just putting another case manager in the pool that is going to be working with these students that are assigned to them. As far as the budget committee and the school board, 100% we have identified a problem, and 100% we are working and will be working in this coming year to fix that issue. We are wholeheartedly sitting here feeling like we will never sit before you again and ever have this conversation where the budget committee says, we didn't know, we weren't told. So that is something that this panel, we have multiple new members in the last year, and we will have new members coming in potentially. So I think that is something that, rest assured, we have 100% identified that issue, and we will 100% fix that to make sure that we never sit before you again and say, we didn't know, or we couldn't come to an agreement because we didn't provide the information.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Thanks, Randy.
So I need a motion to accept this article as written. I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The vote is 26-8. Motion passes. Move on to Article 6. Article 6, to see if the Middleton School District will vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $75,000 to be added to the Construction Renovation Repair Fund previously established. This sum to come from the June 30th, 2025 fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2025. No amount to be raised from taxation. The school board recommends this article 500. The budget committee recommends this article 600. Is there any discussion? I have a motion to accept this article as written. I have a second. All those in favor?
This is not taxation.
Any opposed? The vote is okay. Let's finish our vote first.
Janet, we need to finish the vote.
Let's finish our vote first. The vote is 33-0. The motion passes. Please.
It's a misconception here on that account, because that is for building, renovation, and repair. Now, I don't expect somebody, I'm the trustee of the trust fund. I don't expect somebody to send me an invoice to pay that $5 for a leaky water faucet. But I just paid $20,000 back to the school for resealing the driveway. If there are major repairs that have to be done within that school, they should be billed out to the trustee to be reimbursed the taxpayer school for that money. And anybody who says it can't be done doesn't know what the trust fund is about. And that's been out in the video. The video said they spent $52,000 this year over the $20,000 that they are accounting for. Why didn't I see any bills? Why hasn't anything come to me to be reimbursed back to the school? Somebody want to answer that?
I don't know what she's talking.
I saw the video.
What video?
video, I think that they released, I don't know.
We only use
$268,000 in that trust fund right now.
We only use 20, to our knowledge.
Where,
Do you want,
just Kathy? It's 20,000 something.
For 20,000 for what?
For the. Does anybody want to respond to that?
I mean, we could, going forward, the repairs can certainly be discussed about taking it out of there instead. I think it was set up years ago with the notion that one day if we have to expand the building, that's where it would come from. But going forward, you may see checks for capital improvements, stuff like that.
And it's like,
and we have to have a hearing.
Yeah.
like I said, don't send me a bill for $5.
Nope, I don't think anybody would.
I don't think we
But I
ever.
mean, major repair, you gotta replace the ceiling, you got the water damage, stuff like that. I should be seeing those bills and reimbursed.
I don't think
I think you just haven't because the idea for that trust fund was set up with the notion that we're gonna one day need it for this building to be expanded. But going forward, it may be taken out of that.
Okay, we are moving on to Article 7.
Can I make a motion real quick?
Yeah.
Can I make a motion to restrict reconsideration of Article 5 based on RSA 40:10?
I have a motion to restrict reconsideration based on Article 40:10.
Article 5.
Article 5, I apologize.
That's okay.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The vote is 26-5. The motion passes. Okay. Article 7. To see if the Middleton School District will vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $5,000 to be added to the Bus Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This sum to come from the June 30th, 2025 fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2025. No amount to be raised from taxation. The school board recommends this article 500. The budget committee recommends this article 600.
I second it.
I have a motion to accept this article as written. I have a second. All those in favor?
Oh,
Nope,
discussion,
not
sorry.
Discussion.
We're still learning.
Seeing no discussion, oh,
Can we talk about the school fleet? I mean, I know there's $125,000 in here, that's probably not gonna cover the cost of the school bus. How is our fleet? This is saving up for later, but how we looking?
Do you want me to address that?
Do you know it? I know it.
Oh, if you know it, go for it.
So our oldest bus is from 2014. We bought 2 new buses this year with SRS costs with the cameras and everything, about $98,000.
I thought it was 130.
130, okay. Maybe it's just the bus that's not new, but with the cameras and everything, it's, yeah, it's about 138. So our oldest bus is 2014 bus. And transportation over at the SAU does say it will likely need to be replaced in the near future.
We also bought the handicap bus.
And we did buy a handicap bus. So we have 2 new buses. One is larger than the other, and then a handicap bus with all cameras and everything.
And the handicap bus was bought because we were currently having contracted services with Governor Wentworth to provide those to a student in need.
wheelchair accessible.
So the wheelchair bus was bought because we had a student that we had identified that we were paying for Governor Wentworth to transport back and forth from school. So it actually was to make sure that we had access to the services we needed without having to hire the district for something else.
I have one more.
Trustee trust fund, there's $142,200 in that fund. You bought 2 buses, where's the bills?
We used ESSER funds. We used ESSER funds.
Janet,
Any other discussion?
Janet, you said 142,000?
142,200. I rounded it off.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a motion on the floor. I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The vote is 38-0. The motion passes. Article 8, to see if the Middleton School District will vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $7,000 to be added to the Special Education Trust Fund previously established. This sum to come from the June 30th, 2025 fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2025. No amount to be raised from taxation. The school board recommends this article 500. The budget committee recommends this article 600.
No, that's after you made the motion, second discussion vote.
I have a motion to accept this article as written. I have a second. Any discussion? Bonnie.
I would like to see another $100,000 added to this account and taken from the contracted services line within the budget. That is $248,000. This is one way of making sure that at least part of that money is definitely going to be spent on special ed. So I would like to raise it by $100,000 and make it $107,000. Yep, $107,000 for special ed work.
Any response?
Just to clarify, you can move to increase it, you cannot move to take the decrease out of the operating budget from Article 2. That article has been restricted. The reconsideration of Article 2 has been restricted. So the discussion on Article 2 is closed. This article can be amended. You can certainly amend the dollar amount, you just cannot adjust the dollar amount in Article 2.
Any further discussion? I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The vote is 37-0. The motion passes. Article 9, shall the Middleton School District vote to ratify and approve the tuition agreement between the Middleton School District and the Governor Wentworth Regional School District for the purpose of educating Middleton students in grades 7th through 12th for a 10-year period beginning on July 1st, 2025 and ending on June 30th, 2035 by majority vote. The school board recommends this article 500.
Can I speak to it real quick?
Rebecca?
Sorry.
Oh, she did make a motion.
Oh. I thought we were.
We have to motion, accept, and then you discuss. That's what
I just had the part from our PowerPoint. I was just told that I was supposed to read it. Sounds perfect.
I have a motion to accept this article as written. I have a second. Any discussion?
If I can speak for the school board. Article 9 asks that the Middleton School District to vote to ratify and approve a new 10-year tuition agreement with the Governor Wentworth Regional School District. The current 10-year agreement, which has been in place, is set to expire on June 30th of 2025. This agreement is vital as it ensures that our students in grades 7 through 12 can continue their education at Kingswood Regional Middle School and High School. Through this partnership, our students benefit from the consistent curriculum that flows seamlessly from Middleton Elementary to Kingswood Regional. They also have access to a wide range of opportunities, including career and technical education programs, theater, sports, and more. Renewing this agreement ensures stability and continuity for our students and families, allowing them to thrive in an environment that provides both academic and extracurricular excellence. This long-term agreement solidifies our partnership with Governor Wentworth Regional School District for another decade, ensuring that Middleton students continue to receive the high-quality education they deserve. I urge you to support this article. Thank you.
Please.
So I see we have the, Roxanne Castillo, I see we have the agreement here, so I just thought I understand it. It's saying that our current tuition is $14,959.03.
Correct.
And is it each year going to increase 2,066, or is it going to be based off of what the current, I'm just trying to understand how that's supposed to work.
Good question, Roxanne. So for the first year, like I stated earlier when Scott Ferguson had asked, it's following the same calculation. So it's just based on the, I think it's a general fund increase. For years 2 through 5, it'll be a phase-in increase based on the cost per pupil of students at Kingswood Middle School for middle school students and Kingswood Regional High School for the high school students. So phase in each year, it'll gradually increase to get closer and closer, years 2 through 5, to the actual cost per pupil based on the DOE 25 in the previous year for Governor Wentworth.
So it's going to be based off, like this year it's based off, well, 23,225. So then when you look at, go to do 2026, that's probably not using the right numbers. You would see what the Governor Wentworth cost per pupil student is, and then rising the base each year by that number. Because that number is going to stay 23, 25.
No, well, right, it's based on the DOE 25, which is actual expenditures from the previous fiscal year.
Any other
And then
discussion?
years 6 through 10 would equate to the DOE 25 cost per pupil for the middle school and high school respectively students.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Colin Sexton again. One thing I did hear during was a school board meeting, but what happens with this if we had to send our 6th grade class along to get a school? I see this referencing 7 through 12. I had heard discussion that we may have to turn this into a pre-K to 5 school with the potential of 6th grade going elsewhere. Would that be impacted by any of the verbiage in this contract?
It would be a completely separate contract. So we've had to talk about that based on the current attendance of our student, or the current student numbers. We haven't got there yet. It's something we're considering because it's not necessarily putting us at that being our only decision. It just may be our most cost effective. So we're looking between whether, because we've talked a lot about increasing the size of the school, figuring out how we would kind of address those, whether we, and it's not necessarily 6th grade, it could be that we send preschool out. It's just we had kind of figured as a board that in our conversations thus far that we would go for either one end or the other. But that would be a completely separate agreement.
Okay, so that wouldn't be impacted by this.
It would not be impacted by it, it would just be an addition. It'd be a totally separate one.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? All right, I have a motion on the floor. I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Vote is 36-0. The motion passes. Article 10, shall the Middleton School District vote to ratify and approve the agreement for superintendent services between the Middleton School District SAU 69 and Governor Wentworth Regional School District SAU 49 for the purpose of providing the superintendent services required by state law, regulation, and district policy for a 10-year period beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending on July 30th, 2035 by majority vote. The school board recommends this article 500.
I'll make a motion to accept the article as read.
I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion?
I will read what the board has like you to consider. Article 10 asks the Middleton School District to vote to ratify and approve a 10-year agreement for superintendent services with the Governor of Wentworth Regional School District. This agreement would take effect on July 1st, 2025 and run through June 30th of 2035. Through this agreement, the superintendent's office provides essential services required by law, regulation, and district policy. These services include, but are not limited to, financial and business operations management, human resources, employee benefits administration, transportation oversight, and a variety of other critical support functions that keep our district running smoothly. In addition to these operational services, this agreement fosters leadership that strengthens the connection between Middleton and the Governor Wentworth Regional School District. The connection directly benefits our students who attend Kingswood Regional Middle School and High School by ensuring a unified approach to leadership, shared resources, and collaborative opportunities across both districts. This partnership is integral to maintaining high standards for our district's operations while supporting the overall success of our students. I encourage you to vote in favor of Article 10 to continue this important collaboration.
Any more discussion? I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. The vote is 36-0. The motion passes. Article 11, to transact any other business that may legally come before this meeting. Rebecca, did you?
I have some.
Oh.
Can I have the? On behalf of the board, just for the minute, we wanted to thank Ken Gary for having spent 16 years on the school board. And we also wanted to thank Crystal because she is not going to be running for re-election, and she has spent, what, 6?
Mm-hmm.
6 years on the school board, and we do have flowers for you. Thank you. We'll get them to them
Anything else?
Do we need to do motion for that? Do you seek a motion to adjourn?
What's that?
If there's nothing else, if there's nothing else, you would just seek a motion to adjourn.
I need is there any other? Motion, I have a second. All those in favor? Thank you all for your participation. Thank you for staying for such